something for Portugal.
Yeah.
Everyone is late. So.
So first of all, I just want to know the people that are online. Where are you from? Where are you watching this event tonight? Good. Brazil, Poland, UK, Netherlands. Nice. India as well. Good. Very international, this one. Okay, I will kick off. So, good night, everyone. Today we are having a presentation by Walter. He's going to talk with us about SSO. So, let's get started. You know, usually our rules of engagement. Don't worry if you want to use the Q&A in the chat or in the online chat, and for the people that are over here, in the end of the session, you can ask questions. So, you know how this works. This one is some of our initiatives that we are trying to implement in London. So if you guys got a small tech that you are working on and you want to present that in the next user group, just fill up our cool form that I will show you the QR code shortly, and tell us what you are working for, and it's a good opportunity to you guys to talk in the event, in the next event, if you want. Even if you are from the business side, you got the Tell Us Your Story initiative, that basically if you want to tell us your developed part so far or your business part, so if you are a project manager, we want to know what is your story with OutSystems, how we started, how you want to go with OutSystems in the future, so open for everyone. Here is our QR code and the Google. We are displaying these on the page of the event, but if you want, you can just use your cell phone and scan this QR code, and we'll give you the form to participate in our initiatives in the future. As you know, Next Step is coming back soon, so next month. So if you want to register, just scan your QR code, and in next week we are going to have a session talking about Next Step and the walkthrough of the technical sessions that is going to happen on next month in the Next Step, especially in 16 and 17 of November.
It's a shame it's not in Lisbon.
Our agenda, yeah.
It's an online event, unfortunately.
Next year is going to be changed, hopefully.
Okay. Nice.
So our agenda for today is the usual welcome and intros, about the presentation about SSO. If we got time, we can debate a little bit about some SSO implementations. Basically, we want to know your experience using IDP, using Microsoft, or using other technology to sign in your applications. And in the end, we are going to have some networking over here. Sorry, guys that are online, but this one is just to face-to-face. Hope next time you can join us. So, my name is João Prada. At the moment, I'm a senior developer at CGI UK. In the room, you got Richard, that is Director of Development of Personal Group, and Carlos Lessa, that is a tech lead at Fujitsu. And now the stage to Walter.
So, hi everyone, I'm Walter Kashem. I've been working for CGI in the OutSystems practice with a couple of colleagues who are here today. And I have been developing some OutSystems reactive applications, .NET extensions for some projects in CGI. So today, the topic we're going to discuss about is SSO, that stands for Single Sign-On, using particular these two protocols, OpenID Connect and OAuth 2.0. And at the end, we're going to talk about how to use JWTs to extend user details information. So let's get started by first talk about a short brief about single sign-on benefits. So I just list here 4, but I believe many of us will be able to mention more. So adopting a single sign-on help us in terms of employee productivity, because it reduces the time the users need to sign in on multiple applications. It also helps to mitigate password management risks, because having one hard-to-guess password coupled with MFA features, most of the times it works better than having a lot of passwords and having to memorize all of them when accessing different systems. As a result of the first 2, it improves the user experience, because we only have a single entry point for all the applications into a system, so we don't need to memorize a lot of passwords and changing from one credential to another when accessing different application. The last one is related when companies want to share user domains by collaborating each other. So it also using single sign-on, it helps rather than having multiple user accounts for a single user, we can only have one, and with those details accessing internal application and also any other SaaS application from other companies. I just list here a couple of identity protocols that are used for single sign-on. I list these 2 because these ones are the ones that currently are most used in the OutSystems implementations. The first one, SAML 2.0, is currently used for the IDP components that many of us have been using. And the second one, OpenID Connect and OAuth 2.0, is used in the Microsoft Login Connector Forge components. Okay, so the difference.
Sorry.
Yeah. I'd like just to mention a couple of differences between these 2. The first one use XML to exchange data, and second one use JSON, which is more compact and lightweight. So now let's talk about the second identity protocol. That in fact, this is a combination of 2 protocols. We have first the OAuth 2.0, that is meant for API authorization. Is a token-based or authorization method. And on top, we have OpenID Connect, that is meant for user authentication. This second one has been built on top of this, just to support single sign-on. Okay, now let's talk about some of the key players when implementing a single sign-on. We have here 4 players. Okay. The first one I would like to discuss about is the authorization server. This is the guy who hosts the user details and also the IDs of the resources that are being protected. These resources typically are APIs. So we have here user details, first name, last name, whatever it is, and also the ID pointing to these resources. These resources can be APIs implemented on premises or running on the cloud. At this side, we have the client. Here is the application who is offering digital service, but needs to consume user data from this guy and also access APIs from here. But in order to consume those user data, he needs to have a secure way of doing that. as well as accessing the application data. This information, okay, so the information this guy needs to retrieve from here in order to access the data here and also the other details here is using bear tokens. I'll be talking about in the next slide, not now, what is a bear token and how we can use it. At the bottom, we have the resource owner. Resource owner is just basically the person who this user data belongs to, or also the company that developed it. Okay. On the next slide now. Okay, here, okay, as I say, all that information, so the information that is exchanged between the client and the resource server is exchanged using JSON Web Token or JWT. Okay. This is a open standard created to share exchange data between two parties. Okay. There are primarily three types of JWTs: access tokens, ID tokens, and refresh tokens. Okay. Next, we are going to see the encoded format of a JWT. This is a JWT. In this format is encoded on base 64 string. So as we can see here, we have different parts with different colors. These parts are separated by dots, as we can see here, one dot and a dot, in order to split different parts of the token. The first part is the header. The second part is the payload. The payload is where the main data about the token is placed. And the last part is the signature. The signature is intended to protect this data. Although we can decode this, but this signature is protecting who issue this data. Now we're going to see the decoded version. So this is an example of any access token. We have here the header, okay, where we can see what we call claims. Claims are statements about the resource or the user. Okay. We can see here on the header this claim type. It's just identifying which type of token is this. It's a JWT. On the payload for this access token, we can see different claims. The first one we can see here, graph.microsoft.com, is identifying what is the audience for this token. The second one is ISS, identifying who issued this token. So within the Microsoft identity platform, we have different Azure AD tenants, and for each tenant we have a different identifier. This part is identifying the tenant ID, and then we have 3 timestamps claims that are identifying when the token is going to be expired, when the token was issued. Okay, these timestamps are not in the normal data formats. This is Unix timestamps, so it counts. If I'm not mistaken, it counts the seconds from 19 something else. Yeah, but these are not the normal daytimes. And then we have more claims. At the end, we have a signature that is digitally signed using cryptographic methods. Okay. We saw in previous slides different claims according of the token, for access token and for the ID token. Jean, can you please get back to the previous slide just to mention that in this example, which is an ID token, we can see here claims about the user. These claims are hosted in one Azure tenant. And now the question is, would we be able to add custom information here? Let's say, for instance, that I'm saving in the OutSystems platform the Skype ID or WhatsApp ID of all of us. So how would I be able to inject also this information in this token and benefiting from this? Because by injecting here, I would be able to share this token with different parties without, for instance, considering building any API for that. I'll just benefit from this way of exchanging data, and also not have to worry about building any API. Okay, that's what we can see in the question I have after this slide. Okay, and then we can add this by using custom claims. Go next slide, please. Yeah, next one. Okay, by using custom claims, I can inject here custom information. I have just created these two some days ago for this token. This one, it's a certificate ID, and this certification, web developer, mobile developer, and tech lead. Just to show as an example that it's possible to have custom information there, and also by injecting this information here, I can also retrieve and fetch this information using Microsoft Graph REST API endpoints. Okay, so until now we talk about.
Sorry.
Yeah, so we have talked how the information is exchanged between the client who wants to access a resource and needs a token for that, is using JWTs. Now I have here the main flow, how things work when building a single sign-on. Just to remind you, so here we have the client. In our case, it will be an OutSystems application, for instance, a reactive application. Here we have the authorization server, the one who is hosting two endpoints, the authorization endpoint and the token endpoint. The first one, the authorization endpoint, is used for the user authentication, and the second one, it will be used to retrieve tokens. Okay. The process starts like this. A user tries to access any application, okay. And the flow is redirected to these endpoints, the authorized endpoints. Here, I just have the base URL. After this, it comes with the different query parameters that are going to specify what I want to retrieve from this endpoint. Okay. For this implementation, I'm going to use the authorization code. So in order to retrieve tokens, I have different flows that I can use to retrieve that. I can use authorization token, client credentials, or any other type of to retrieve the token. Here, so after the user enter his or her credentials, the flow goes to these endpoints. The user types the credentials. If everything goes well, this endpoint, it will return an authorization code. Then with this authorization code, I can make a request to the token endpoint, specifying some details. The tenant, where the local representation of this guy is on Azure AD, the client ID, the authorization code that I receive, and also the scope. The scope is a particular parameter for the authorized endpoints and for the token endpoints that specify what am I allowed to do with the token that I'm going to receive. When I state here, for instance, that I want a token and I say that the scope is email, I'm stating that I want to receive a token with that information on the email. So there are different scopes, and another other scope value is the refresh token. It is the offline access. The offline access is a scope value to allow me to retrieve refresh tokens and then keeping over a user session, receiving tokens and keeping the user session alive. Okay. So just one remark here. Whenever a client requests a token, as we saw, there are some claims that allow us to validate the token, like the timestamp and the audience. This is the main flow. Now we can see the next slide, which is going to, which is going to display a sample sign-in request using the authorization endpoint, the one I mentioned for the user authentication. Okay. Basically, it's one of the examples. It's like this. I have here the tenant ID, this first part, and then I need to specify these query parameters: the client ID, the response type, the redirect URL, the scope, and the state. Okay. The client ID is like a local representation of the client application into the authorization server. So let's say I have any OutSystems application, a reactive one called demo. So in order to establish this address relationship between the client application and the authorization server, I need to create a local representation of the OutSystems application into the authorization server. And this after I create this local representation, I can have this client ID, which identify who is the client application within the authorization server. Okay. The response type is specified in this case. It's a code because I want to retrieve an authorization code from this request. this query parameter, the redirect URI, identifies the URL I'll be using to handle the application response. Okay. Once everything goes well on the authorization server side, I will need to have a URL that is going to handle and process the code returned from this endpoint. Here I have the scope. So once again, so it's a concatenation of different values. This one, for instance, it states that I'm using the OpenID protocol, and I want to receive any ID token. This one profile, it states that I want to retrieve user profile information, and this one stated I want to retrieve on the ID token information about the email address of the user. This one, the state is a query parameter that we can use to uniquely identify authentication requests. So whenever I make a request using this endpoint, okay, and I add this query parameter, the response of this request, it will return not only the code, but also the state, so that I know that for that authentication request, I'm receiving the right, the response that match that request. Okay. For next slide, okay, so here is just another example. This time is not for the signing requests, but the sign out. We have, so this one is more simpler than the last one, because I just needed to specify the tenant ID and also any additional query parameter if I want to display to the user another page after ending the session on the Microsoft Identity Platform. Okay, and now we're going to talk about what you need to do from the client side. Okay, so in order to configure the SSO on the client side, and for the case of OutSystems, we have some colleagues of us have already built some ready-to-use components, particular so the Microsoft Login Connector management. It's an application to manage the trust relationship I'm going to create between the authorization server and the client, and also another application who is Microsoft Login Connector Reactive, that is going to host the web page that is going to handle the authentication responses. The next slide. So here are the components for everyone who wants to have a look at them. These are their names and have been built by this team. Okay, so here are some of the reference of my presentation. Okay, and then we can see with a live demo how to set up the single sign-on. Okay, so for this presentation, I have created any Azure account in order to show you guys. Let me see. I think, yep. Just to see how can I share this bit. Just want to share, yeah, this. Yeah. Okay. And I cannot. Okay.
What?
I want to see here as well. I want to see. Otherwise, I won't. It's fine. I can see it.
You can see it?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So this is one Azure account that I have created, and the goal here now is, in order to set up single sign-on, we need, like I said before, we need to create a local representation of the OutSystems application we are going to build and protect with single sign-on. To do this, we need to have any Azure tenant, okay? And we need also to create an app. Okay, let's create an app called demo. We can choose here different options for types of the accounts we want to support for this single sign-on. I'm going to choose this one for now, and then we have this field that I'll be populating after creating some of the key applications on the OutSystems. Okay. Once we register this application, we have access to some of its details. Okay, so here we have the tenant ID. Here we have the client ID and different configuration we can do with this application. So once we create the application on the authorization server, okay, we can download the OutSystems application I have mentioned. I have already downloaded them to this environment. These three applications. These two are both consuming the core one with the main logic. Okay. And what we can do here is we're going to create an application. Okay. This is going to be the main application. We're just going to create a simple welcome screen on that. Okay. Let's just name it home, and let's just put simple label here saying welcome. This will feed the application we want to protect with single sign-on capabilities. Now we're going to create two supporting applications. One is just to host a custom login page we are going to have, and I'm going to call this demo OAuth trigger. Publishing. I hope I can publish. Okay. And now here we're going just to do a couple Okay, again, just to create some actions. Okay. So some action that we are going to use. This action will be just to get awesome sign in page. Okay. For this action, I'm going to consume to consume an action from this extension. Get request domain, which is here. Okay. This action is just going to return the URL of some sign-in page we are going to build. Okay. Okay. HTTPS. Yes. Here's the domain. And now I'm going to put here this module name, then slash module name slash page. Okay, so I have here this, okay, and this. Okay, what I'm going to do is within the action is running on clicking this button, I'm going to call so I need to create another action here to get the sign in request. This action is going to consume one of the actions belonging to the Microsoft login connector module. This keeps popping up, but I hope I can publish until the presentation is completed. So from the core module, we're going to consume this action. It's going to retrieve it's going to, and I need also this entity. Okay, and then I can consume this. Okay, here I need to pass some inputs. Okay, so here is I need to pass the name of the module that I'm going to protect with single sign-on, this one, demo. Okay. Demo. Here I need to state which provider I'll be using. Azure ID, and then I have to specify the callback, space and name. So for that, we can also create a third application. Okay. This application. I'm going to call demo auth handler, because it's going to handle authentication responses. Okay. I'll just create this one just for the sake of making clear which functionality each application will be doing, but in fact it's not really necessary to create this third application, because it's just going to do what this application does directly when just to handle. And then for this, I'm going to
We are trying to publish.
No, I just want to open this.
It's thinking.
Yeah. Okay, so while it's loading, we can proceed with.
It's not a live demo, it's something like this isn't that and so.
Yeah. Okay, so we can proceed with other part of the configuration, which is okay. We Microsoft management application, and here just needs to add my credentials. Okay. Now, management. To in the browser. Okay, so here we are going to use some of the details we got from the app registration on Azure AD. So we're going now to create a new application, give it a name, passing the tenant ID, which let me system web. Okay, so now I want to check the new app registration I have created is demo1. Get some of its detail, first the tenant ID, in order to fill this detail. Then I'm going to get the client ID. Okay. And at last, I need to create a password for this application, which is also called a secret. Okay. Just let's call it out. Okay, so whenever users are going to try to access the demo application behind scenes, so it will be using these details to build the authentication request. Okay, I have also here all details. I can save it. And then I need on this tab spaces to specify which end user module I want to protect. So the first module we create and publish. I need to attach this. Okay. So now my configuration is done on the management side. Okay. And I hope now I can still. Okay, so now I need to build the main flow. Keeps on asking me to do this. Okay, I'm going to try to close this and open again, maybe. Okay, so it's again. Okay, here. Okay, so this is the default page that is going to process authentication response. As I say, so for the sake of splitting which part each application will be doing during the flow, I just create this third one. But in fact, this third one is just going to do all the logic that is being performed on this screen. Just to make clear what this does, I'm just going to create this. Okay, call it SSO, then pass here. It just needs to consume a couple of reference. There is another action on the core, this one, initialize callback. Okay. It's already so okay, so it's complaining about these client variables who belongs to the flow. Okay. Okay, so now that I got the web page who is going to handle the authentication responses, I'm going to state on the demo application from the Azure AD side, within this tab authentication, the redirect URL of the platform, web, and here just need to change the module name and the screen. So that's the module. And then the screen. Okay. Okay. Every single application request that is going to be made to this application is going to use this URL to process the response. Okay. I'm going to add here another URL. This one is just to make sure that the sign out works properly, which is I'm going to add here a similar URL, but this time it's going to have the details of the module is going to handle, is going to trigger, the authentication request. Okay, here, login. Okay, and save. Okay, so now that I got this configuration, we are going to see here within the API permissions, what can I do with this registration? After creating an app on Azure AD, it comes automatically with this permission. So all the users add to these applications will be allowed to sign in and read user profile information. Okay. I can add more permissions. I can add delegated one and application ones. We will see after the singleton on how to add the application related ones. And now we just need to go here under the overview, and within this view, in order to add the users belonging to this application. Within this tab, you can add the user. I have some users on this Azure AD tenant, and I'm going to add this one. Okay, I'll be using this user to sign in. Okay, so the user is here. Okay. Now, okay. Now we need to complete the sign-in request with the remaining inputs. The end user module to handle the response, and then the screen. We call it SSO. Okay. And then expose from this action the URL. Okay. Okay. So we're going to make this action public. Publish this and consume this on the on-exception system event of the main application. Because whenever a user tries to access this application, it throws automatically the security exception under this system event. And we are going to replace if I can show you, then I need to enter Let's change the view and see if this gets updated. Okay. Let's try to open the module again. Where is this now? Okay, let's open the demo. Okay, within the main application, we have the on exception system events. Sorry, this keeps popping up. It's quite annoying, but okay. Okay, within this flow, so this is the logic that it comes automatically when creating an application. So we don't want this anymore. What we want is that whenever a user tries to access end screen, we want this exception is triggered, and we want to redirect the flow to the custom login web page we have created. For that, we're going to consume action. And search for the trigger. And consume this action. Apply. Okay. Let's now remove this. Okay. Consume that action we create. Link these two statements. And then we use the redirect to URL statement to redirect the flow to the custom. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So then, whenever trying to access this, the flow is redirect to this application trigger, and on trigger, it's going to hit the login. The login screen. So I don't know. Okay. Okay. Here we already have this. Okay. So then let's try. Let me open another window. This time oh, it's not. Okay. Then let's try to access our demo application. Flow is going to be redirect to the custom login we have created. Once we click here, I need to remove this bit. Okay, we just remove this.
validation on that, but probably that's this idea actually about that check. I'm saying for
Just have warnings. Warnings are fine for the start of the demonstration.
check the login blind.
And this here, okay. It's the OAuth trigger need, right?
Yeah, it's not this one. I removed on the wrong place. Yep, it is one. It's this one in fact. Yeah, it's this one that I need to remove. Okay. Okay. Let's now try to hit. Okay. Working. One is to not executed. Okay, so I placed that on the wrong place. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I forgot to assume here. The sign me request method will be create. No, it's not here. In fact, sorry, it is here. Here is guy that I need, and I don't need this. Just need to call this, and then here you have. Okay, let's just refresh this module because it's consuming. Apply. Okay. It's now. I can see everything works as expected. Okay.
Okay, the flow is redirects to here. I'm going to use the develop account I have shown you. Once I enter the username, need to enter the passwords. Okay, so as you can see here, this is the authentication request with the tenant. With the response type, I'm expecting to receive a code, client ID, and at the end, okay, this is going to be the page that is going to process the application response. And this is the ID who is identifying this specific request. Okay. It's incorrect. Okay, so let's now, for this particular user, reset the password and get a new one. Okay. Copy. Let's copy this password and we start again. From to demo. I'm going to use the new password. Okay, I'm going to use the same. Same user. With the new passwords. Okay, let's put this one and create another one. Okay. New passwords. New password. Okay, skip. Okay, so now here, because we are accessing this new application for the first time, we need the user to confirm because the demo application is requesting a code on behalf of this user. So the user needs to accept this before proceeding. And here is the permission who the user can do with this request. Sign in and read the profile only. Okay, so he is handling the authentication response. Okay, yeah, so there is another step I forgot to do here. Yeah, I need to call this events. Okay, and once all the processing is done, I want to redirect the flow to Direct flow to this URL. I want to redirect the flow to
the main application demo. So once all the callback processing is done, the flow is going to be redirected to that page. Okay, so because at this stage I have already created a session on Azure AD, I'm just going to close this Chrome instance, open a new one to start the process again. So that session is ended. Move. User. User. Use new password. Skip. Why it keeps
Azure AD, like either from the in Azure AD, either it will be like that's what callback URL is.
Can you say again?
In Azure AD, like it has given the callback URL.
The callback in the Azure side.
You mean this callback?
Yeah.
This is right because this is the URL I need to handle on the client side, the processing. So once I'm done with processing, I want this here because I want to run this logic. And once this logic is run successfully, it means the single sign-on process is done and I can access the initial page I want to access. So reason why is okay. I got it. So I forgot to make this page anonymous. So by default, it was raising the security exception and then redirecting the flow to the login page. Okay. So, oh,
Why everyone is smiling?
That's for you, the business has nothing to do with it.
Yes, of course.
okay. Process. Okay.
It's processed, and then the processing is done, and I'm able
to access
the application. Okay. That's now.
we have created the local representation in Azure AD, configure in the
Client side, and then I'm able to sign in.
but it's missing one feature in this authentication flow. So we need also to be able to sign out, triggering
So
sign out.
sign out request for that. So for that purpose, I'm going to open the core implementation, okay, and show you. So I have created a custom logic in this module. Okay, this logic to trigger that operation. This component by default it comes with action, okay, but I create this one in order to, so in one go, first end the session on Azure AD by retrieving the logout URL, and then deleting the token request. That it's like so a record who is holding the information about the question request after when trying to sign out. So I'm going to consume this action in different places, and for that reason, let me just create here another
Action to reuse get sign out request.
And once again, I need to
Expose another URL.
okay, here just needs to
Go to core.
core. Apply. Okay, and here I want this. I want to consume this with a similar logic. Okay. So I will need this
User logout.
to end the session on the OutSystems side. We also need the action I have created. And then I need to, here I want, after this, so the sign out is done, I want to redirect the user to the initial custom sign-in
Page.
Okay. Okay. So then let me make this public. Okay. Publish this.
And consume this.
Okay. So I will quickly just complete this flow.
And then fortunately, I want to be able to show how to add the custom claims, unless I can have 5 more minutes.
Yeah, 5 more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guys,
so I'll
so
just,
the
I'll
debate,
just complete
we'll
this.
not do the debate next. So to Walter show you the JWT token, I think it's more important.
Okay.
And some Q&A questions we are going to answer after the session. You can left your questions on the tab and we'll reply to you after the session.
Okay. So I'm just going to within this log for the client logout, consume that action. Refresh. Pull. Sign out. Okay. Remove this. Remove this. Sign out. Remove this. And publish this. Okay, so I think I will have to close this again. And let's just sign in one more time. Okay. Course. To this is password. And skip. It's processing. Okay, and then we're going to sign out. We sign out and redirect. Okay, it should be redirected to our custom sign-in. But
So we just saw how to
how to sign out, and let me now quickly show you how to create the custom claims. So before that, we need to have permissions for that. I'm going to add here a graph permission. Should be an application permission because I'm going to create without any user interaction, just consuming Postman. And this is application read write all. So I need this add permission, and I need also another one, application user read write all. Okay, so with this permission, then I'm to go to Postman. Okay, I'm going to create first. So I need first to receive a token to create the custom claim. Okay, I got here, just need to get the right details, overview, client, okay. Just need now the secret. Just need to pick another secret for this. Blah blah. copy value. Okay. Now send the request. Here I have the access token, and I will need this token because I want to create custom claim into Azure AD. And here with these requests, I want to state all the details for the custom claim to be created. So once I have requested token in order to get access to this operation, I need to add and request header, the authorization header, and then use the token as request. Okay. And within the body, I want to specify some details about the custom claims I want to create. Let's say demo ID, define data type, and object. Okay. Okay, so I think it takes some time to build. Okay. So I need header. So, okay, permissions. Okay, so I need to grant this. Okay, yes, let's grant. I just need now to request another token because that token didn't have all the permissions that I need. Invalid client. BC. Is this correct? And the secret? Okay. Oh. Okay. Here's the token I need to create the custom claim. Let me replace this for the right way. Okay, so the custom claim is created. Now, if I go back to Azure portal under the token configuration, I can say, so when issue ID tokens or access tokens, I want you to also add another claim that is going to be, should be here. Maybe it's not refreshed yet. Okay, add option, ID. Okay, so I'm missing here one part. Create body. That's right. Then on request. It's not what you need. This right. Okay, so I think I used the wrong client, but in order just to show you these guys, I'm going to show you the client where these have been created. It has been created under this client. I'm just going token configuration. Okay, if I click here on IV, and then we got here the custom claim I have created. Okay, and we just need to add this here. And once we do this, we are able to write and delete this extension, okay, using different endpoints. So these endpoints and retrieve that. Okay, yeah. So basically, this is how we can create a custom claims into Azure AD. Any questions quickly? Otherwise, João is going to kill me if I can because we have some technical issues.